Hi everyone, welcome to analysis compilation number 25. We've got no footage before this part of the clip, that's why it's paused. But up ahead the road's merging. Now, just think of what speed my viewer's doing. If they were the same as this smart car to my viewer's left, would there be any issue? I don't think so, but they're not the same. What my viewer did still didn't warrant the reaction that it got though. Let's have a look at this clip first. Someone else who's that upset at being held up, they want to stop and get out. And yes, that was them striking my viewer's car as he drove past. Thankfully this time, it looked as though this incident had finished. This video has been kindly sponsored by Car Vertical. For me, this is way too late to be passing vehicles. As you all know, I'm an advocate of merging in turn. However, when traffic is flowing, you need to find the most appropriate time to find a space, and it definitely wasn't to go past the grey smart car. The faster the traffic is flowing, the earlier you need to get in. If I was the driver of the smart car, I would have left it there and just held back. However, they make the mistake of escalating. Like I said, if the driver of this smart car was concerned about being held up, they're all too happy to stop, and if they were concerned about the safety, they're all too happy to overtake on the hatched area. Ironic really, isn't it? There are many people out on the road who think they've got to prove themselves all the time, and this guy's an absolute classic. But the key to learning in this clip is from my viewer's contribution. But I have to give my viewer a little bit of credit. They hold back, and when this guy is sauntering over, they just literally get off. Remember, the roads and people in general are more broken than they ever were, so don't do anything to antagonise. Many road users don't do enough with people who could potentially emerge in front of them, and I think my viewer's guilty of this in this clip. Let's have a look at it first. Before I go into any further detail, I just want to have a look at the impact that the private hire taxi driver suffered coming from the opposite direction. It was quite a heavy hit. There was nothing that this taxi driver could have done to anticipate it, if I was honest, but they're going to be left with a damaged car, and maybe they're going to be off the road for a little bit. In fact, if we look at this Car Vertical report for this Skoda Superb that was hit, you'll see that it was actually written off as well. If we go into a little more detail with this report, we can see that although it was written off, it was repairable, and also in the timeline it shows it was sold a little bit after, so maybe this vehicle has been put back on the road. But going even deeper, let's have a little look at the mileage record. The mileage record shows it's done 11 miles. What do you think that's all about? Well, it's probably the fact that it's probably been a taxi all the way throughout its life, and they don't have normal MOTs. So the information that's actually gathered from Car Vertical comes from when the car has an MOT. So if it doesn't have much of a mileage record, has it been used as a private hire? There's a possibility of that. So before you purchase your next vehicle, check out my links in the description, use the code Ashley and you can save yourself 20%, making sure your potential purchase has not got a hidden history. Thanks Car Vertical. Before I start any further analysis, I do want to say that the driver of the Audi is definitely the one that's legally at fault. They emerged terribly, they couldn't see for certain and just gambled, and definitely were the main cause of this collision. And I've paused the clip at this point for good reason. This is the frame before the driver of the Audi starts to move. How can anyone seriously think this is the correct time to commit? But they do, and I think they're also trying to escape from the taxi coming in the opposite direction. Disgraceful. I know we've seen this clip a few times, but I need to go through my viewer's contribution. Their speed seems okay, they're definitely not breaking the limit, but let's have a little look at the blue Audi now. It's only been visible for a split second, and our view is also blocked because there's pedestrians in between us and the driver of the blue Audi. Quite soon it's going to again disappear behind the parked cars. So have we definitely been seen? And the answer is no. This fact on its own should have been sending alarm bells to my viewer, and they should have slowed and been ready for this. But I would also like to be totally fair and say the driver of the Audi did move really quickly and there wasn't any other warning. But my viewer should have been ready to stop, instead they prioritised steering. If this had have been a cyclist or a motorcyclist coming in the opposite direction, we would have been looking at more than just a written off car. We could have been looking at a fatality. In this clip we're going to be looking and analysing another collision, but this time it's on a big multi-lane roundabout. There's a lot more going on. The road markings back in 2021 were pretty poor. They have improved since, and we'll be looking at another clip in a moment to see what they're like nowadays. But for now, see whether you can work out which car is going to hit my viewer.
What the f*** are you doing?
That was quite easy to spot on dashcam, but when you're driving you're stuck up behind the A-pillar, and that's why I think my viewer missed that signal, unless they chose to ignore it. In any case, I would not have passed that vehicle that was to my viewer's right. If you stay in a staggered formation, in the little pocket of space just behind, this incident doesn't happen. Meanwhile, the driver who has just hit my viewer from lane 3 is parking in front and turning all the lights off so they can't be seen. Not the sharpest tool. At least put your hazard lights on, like my viewer. There was a little bit of damage to the front wing of the Corsa, and even less of a scrape on the offside rear wing above the wheel on my viewer's car. With this in mind, I questioned why the vehicle in lane 3 didn't see my viewer. And for me it's pretty simple. It's the difference in speed, and this happens quite quickly. My viewer goes from a position back here where they're easily visible in the left-hand door mirror of the Corsa to where they're not quite quickly. And I think my viewer's headlamps are not going to be visible in the left mirror of this vehicle. And even though my viewer's vehicle is bright red, it could render it pretty invisible in these conditions. But my last point of this clip is this. How the driver of the Corsa thinks they can go from lane 3 across to this road on the left when there's already 2 lanes heading off is unbelievable.
What the f*** are you doing?
Now we've got some better road markings in August of this year to go with the nice VFO footage. I wonder whether my viewer got a 5% further discount by using the code Ashley with the links in the description. In any case, my viewer is taking exactly the same route that they were taking on that same night 3 years ago. And I think they do a similar thing with their acceleration with this vehicle to my viewer's right. I again would have stayed behind this one, for at least a little bit anyway. You can clearly see the improvement in the road markings, but you can also clearly see how ridiculous it was for the vehicle from where the bin wagon is to try and turn left down this road. However, try and remember this, no one's going to turn into you if they're either ahead or behind. And even here my viewer decides to position themselves next to the green car, even with the black Ford Focus signalling left. If it had have suddenly moved, we were in for another collision there. And was my viewer going to go past the bin wagon before they signalled? To finish, we've got quite a simple clip. My viewer sent this in and called the video, "Why would she move right?" Well, it's very simple. When cyclists are doing junctions, they often take the primary or middle of the road position to keep them safe. I think the more important question was, why were you trying to overtake at a junction, and why did you go across this solid line hatch marking? There's still a massive number of drivers who have no clue why cyclists do what they need to do. Keep safe, everyone. I'll see you soon.